Welcome back, friends, to Death Before Booze. I'm Sam.
I'm Jen.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, Sam.
So, there's this new fun thing going around the interwebs that I saw that I would love to discuss with you. I know this is not a graveyard chat, but have you seen all these people crying over the fact that the government is only planting male trees and that's why allergies are so bad because of the pollen? Have you seen these people crying about this?
No, I haven't. No.
Oh my God.
But you know what? It does not surprise me anymore.
I mean, it's not true. That's not how trees work. Well, most trees.
That's not how trees
That's not how most trees work. There are certain trees that do have male and female. But, like, trees are like all plants and they have male and female parts, and that's why we have pollinators. So if you're hearing that one, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of our government right now. So like, but I will tell you that the government is not just purposefully planting male trees. So we are all, tormented by pollen, and we have to go to big pharma for reasons to stop being allergic to stuff. That's not what's happening. And the fact that somebody has to explain this is just killing me. It's hurting my soul.
I say it all the time. I know people were like misinformed and like not so didn't think things through before the pandemic, but good Lord, afterwards I'm like, what are we talking about? How do you
guys, please.
Just read a book. Go outside and touch grass.
Touch grass.
Read a goddamn book, please.
Oh my God, do anything. Please. Even Emma agrees. Do anything. All right. So now that we've had that PSA done, because it's really been bothering me, and I'm kind of like, next I'm going to hear about the flat earthers again, because that comes up every couple of years too.
Every so often it does come up, and everyone's like, it's a globe, so
yeah. Okay.
But we're good.
Not that had anything to do with our topic, which is...
It didn't, but it's just, our topic is somebody's poisoned the water hole.
Somebody's poisoned the water hole. I have one of those Woody dolls, and I don't think it says that. It doesn't say the thing about there's a snake in my boot either. I'm just saying.
That's so lame.
That's
so
like
the whole reason you get 'em.
I know. And then Ken told me that Tom Hanks doesn't even do the voice for the doll.
Yes,
his brother does.
You did tell me that, and I was like, you know what? Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
My husband's mowing the lawn. Can you?
Yeah.
I should probably shut my window.
It's fine. It's
Okay. So everybody just gets to hear him mowing the lawn today. That's fine. We're doing great. Okay, well, I go second. So, God. Jen, tell me a story.
So, I'm going to tell you some fun facts first. Ooh. Because I didn't know that this was a thing. So, there was a person named Giulia Tofana, and she was born in Palmero, Italy. Historians speculated she took her mom's last name because she was the daughter of a Palmero prisoner. And she went to Rome and started a poisoning ring.
I love this. Wait, why? Who are we poisoning? Was it the patriarchy? Because I feel like it's going to be that.
Yeah, it was basically she was inviting women who needed to escape an abusive or inconvenient spouse.
Fun!
And 6 women were active in this poison ring at one time.
Okay.
And they didn't find out about it until after she died.
Good for her.
I was just kind of like, that exists? Like, you're just like, hey, listen, you don't like your husband? He's abusive? I got something for you. It's just so, like, it's like the guy from Hercules who's like, wanna buy us?
Yes!
Like, that's what I'm picturing.
Oh my God.
That's what so I didn't know that was a thing.
I've heard of a couple of little poisoning rings throughout history. I read this one book called The Lost Apothecary. I feel like that had something to do with poison.
Yeah.
It might not have been. I don't really remember. It wasn't that good.
It's incredible. Honestly, I was trying to look up more on Julia. I didn't find a ton because she died in 1651, and there's not a lot
What do
about
you mean?
her.
What do you mean
But
there isn't
Jesus.
documented history about a poison ring that nobody found until afterwards, and we
Until
only
she
know her
died.
name?
So they're like, huh? Oh, this is happening. I'm like,
It's happening.
it's happening. So my story, though, just to kind of go back, I just thought poison rings needed to be talked about a little bit, and there they go.
Yep, we're all better for it.
So now I'm going to talk to you about Marie Lafarge.
The way you said that, and now I'm
Lafarge.
going to talk to you about was like, okay, we're back to my TED Talk.
Yeah.
These are
Now we're
my
gonna talk.
supporting facts.
So she was born in Paris in 1816, and she's the daughter of an artillery officer.
It's like distillery.
Napoleon. Yes.
Distillery, artillery. We bring it all back to alcohol some way, shape, or form at some point.
Yeah. Words are hard. So
Words are hard.
anyway, but she, it was said that somehow her grandmother was connected to King Louis Philippe. But it didn't really make much difference because her family wasn't like super wealthy.
Okay.
Okay. Now, she lost her father to a hunting accident when she was 12.
Oh, no.
And her mom died 7 years after.
my
So she
God.
was taken in, by her maternal aunt, who was married to a secretary general of the banks of France.
Money, money,
So
money,
he's
money.
a pretty big deal. So, despite that, even though she was like, her aunt and her didn't really like get along, and they weren't like lovey-dovey and all that, but they did send her to like the best schools, and they treated her well. I mean, she got what everybody else got. The problem was that she grew up in where she didn't have wealth. Her friends had all of these expensive things. They lived very lavish lives. She still was kind of reminded that she didn't. So she kind of was just that. So of course the goal was let's marry her off to a rich person.
I love that plan. Marry me off to a rich
So-
person. I mean, I'm already married, but
So once she was of age, it was her uncle's responsibility to find a husband for her, which I guess that makes sense because usually it's dad who like goes out and is like.
But didn't her dad die when she was 12?
Yeah.
And then her mom died 7 years later, which would make her 19. So wouldn't she already be of age?
Yeah, I guess this is like you want to. I mean, I don't know. I guess she's of age, but like, so she is of age. It's just, I guess they want to match make for her because literally, what does she do? She goes to school and maybe, comes home and whatever. Maybe he has a job. I don't think she has a job. Women didn't have jobs during that time. Like, no, they didn't.
Unless she ran a poison ring. That's a great job.
I mean, that's fair. The poison ring is fair. So he went to a marriage broker, which is basically like a matchmaker. So like the millionaire matchmaker that
Yes,
was on-
Patty. That was her name,
yeah.
Patty.
And she'd be like, "Oh, you are not a good match
Yes.
with this person. You cannot have sex on the first date." Blah blah blah. Yeah, there was all those rules. It's the marriage broker. I assume is kind of like that, except not like, "Hey, I'm gonna do a get together." It was more like, "Here's who I got." So the matchmaker or the broker was like, this is who I got on the table for you. It just so happened to produce only one candidate, and the candidate was Charles Lafarge.
Okay.
So Charles was also looking for a wife, so that's why he's in the pool. He was 28, so not super crazy. She's 13, he's 28, but like she's it's still an age gap.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
A little bit. He's the son of John Baptiste Lafarge, who was the justice of the peace in Vosges.
Nailed it.
Sorry. John Baptiste bought a former charter house, which was an old monastery. And unfortunately, it hadn't been upkept or anything,
Cool.
so it's piece of shit. It's kind of neat if you buy like an old church and like refurbish it into like a home or something.
That is cool. That is cool.
Yeah, I would think that would be neat.
I would live in there.
No. Charles turned a part of it into a foundry, which is a factory that produces metal casings.
Cool.
Alas, though, it wasn't profitable and he's in debt. But how do we get out of debt? We get married.
Isn't that why she was getting married?
Yes, that's why she was.
So we're all getting married to get money, but nobody has money
to get money. Exactly.
I'm just making sure I understand the rules here. Sounds like Monopoly, but in the bad way.
Yeah, in a really bad way. So now Charles advertised himself as a wealthy ironmaster with a property worth 200,000 francs and an annual income of 30,000 francs.
If your house is worth so much, why not just sell the house and live somewhere else?
Well, he's saying this is what I am. He's not making that much money.
Lying.
His house and the house hasn't been upkept, so even if it was worth that much money, it's garbage. No one's gonna take it because it doesn't.
I don't like that. That's fucked.
So Marie's uncle passed Charles off as a friend and said, "Hey, I'm gonna, we're gonna meet up spontaneously at the opera house."
Oh my goodness, we're gonna go to the farmer's market on Saturday, and look who's here!
Oh, look who's here! I know this guy.
Oh my gosh, since it been since college. That one football game where you fell down and broke your femur. Remember that? I remember that. Oh, it could have been the party where you snorted sugar, but I mean, either way,
it's fine.
It's been forever. Here's my niece.
Exactly. Have you met my niece Marie? She's single. She's looking to get married.
Have you met Marie?
Marie at first found Charles not so great, kind of a little repulsive.
Was he ugly? He sounds ugly.
I don't know if ugly or if it was just a matter of like the way he talked, like what he talked about. She was like, I don't really know. I think I could do better. But he advertised himself as the owner of an estate. So this was great. And she's like, all right, I can probably get over that if he's got a lot of money.
I mean, well, everybody looks the same in the dark, kids.
Right. Exactly. It didn't really matter what she thought anyway, because her aunt announced that they were engaged 4 days later. So,
wow.
Hope you don't mind, Marie. Hope you don't mind. We're getting married. So,
how exciting!
So they did get married August 1839.
Okay.
And they left Paris and they went to El Gladiator to live at his estate.
Cool.
This wonderful estate.
So
this $200,000 estate.
Okay.
After the wedding, they got to the estate, which Marie saw and was like,
"No,
what?
is the estate behind like, this decrepit piece of shit? Is this like the guard shack for the estate?
Is this the beginning? Is there like a secret tunnel to the real place?" No. So her in-laws also weren't really too pleased, it's not that they weren't too pleased. Her in-laws also, she didn't like them very much, and it didn't seem like they really liked her either. But they're all living together because that's what you did. Like, he has this great estate, like, it's beautiful, he's doing this whole thing, and then mom and dad are there.
Ew.
Living there with you as a married couple. They're not really, they're kind of like meh. And yeah.
Okay.
So she got to the estate, walked inside, saw
a rat with a piece of pizza running on the outside.
Like, pretty much. So she's like, so this, it's not better on the inside. So that night she wrote her husband an email. Could you imagine?
IDK, my BFF Jill.
She wrote a letter to Charles.
Dear
and said,
Charles,
hey, listen,
you suck, donkey dicks.
Could you release me from this marriage?
If you
and if you don't, I'm going to threaten to take my life by swallowing arsenic. Okay.
Bitch, he'd be like, okay, bitch, hold on, I'll go to the pharmacy. I got you.
Right. Charles, though, needed the marriage.
You know what he's like? No, wait, give me a week. I need to get a life insurance policy on you first. And then you can have all the arsenic. Then I'll buy you the arsenic. Yep.
Then I'll buy it
I will buy it for you.
But...
Keep talking. I'm listening. We're doing great.
Okay. But he needed this marriage for his affairs because if he didn't get married, people might not think of him as a very good business person.
What does that have to do with... Okay.
I don't know. It's again like it's kind of like when you're married, you're expected to have kids because then if you have kids, you look like a more well put together woman or so. The some bullshit that people are spinning lately. It's kind of I guess the same thing in the 1800s. You need to have a wife, look like a respectable man, and maybe and people will go to your business more because they think you're likable.
I know a lot of people who have kids and they're real fucking assholes. So.
Right. So he said to her, okay, listen, we're going to come up with a compromise. He would not assert marriage privileges. So, I guess
so we don't have to have sex.
Consummate our marriage until he restored the estate to the original condition. So, as was promised to her before, what it looked like. He also said he would use some of the dowry money of the marriage to put into the home because she was given a hefty dowry, or he was, by her aunt and uncle because she didn't really inherit anything from her parents, but her family did, her aunt and her uncle did have money. Also, that dowry, so I guess, I don't want to give her back because then I have to give her money back.
Oh, yeah, no, can't return her,
No. So... this seemed to improve their marriage for a few weeks. Everything seemed okay. Marie actually even helped restore the home. So they're all working on the...
Do you get the landlord special where, you white paint over the fucking plugs and light switches? Look, so much nicer.
Look, it's fine. It's fine. So I think also she kind of needed, a stake in it, too. Hey, you're my wife now. And yes, we're not, technically... but it's sort of seemed like the more that they were together, the more that she helped him with the progress. They did start to fall in love, or at least she appreciated
tolerate each other.
Yeah,
love that
instead of her being ugh. She also wrote home to her friends about how happy she was and all that kind of stuff. So now, December 1839, Charles had to go on a business trip for his business, which wasn't doing so well, but he's hoping he can get some people.
Okay.
He had to go with an associate that Marie didn't seem to like very much because she doesn't seem like a very easy person to please.
Maybe she just has high standards, Jennifer.
It could be. It just seems like she's always like, this house is disgusting. Given it was probably not so far off from the rat with the pizza.
Come on.
But before he left, Marie made out a will, leaving her entire inheritance to him, and he did the same. So, okay, so just in case something were to happen on this trip.
And she's alone with his parents with a will that says all my shit goes to them. Dumb.
But he made out another will that she didn't know about him leaving the property to mom and not her. Now, she didn't know this part.
What an asshole.
But I guess, I don't know what... I think maybe because he was leaving, they weren't sure how long he was going to be gone for, and then back then, who the fuck knew when you would come home and whatever, so God forbid something happened.
Die of dysentery.
Honestly.
Yep.
So, while he was in Paris, Marie wrote to him every day. She updated him on the redecorating. She sent him gifts. She even wrote, she even sent pictures, kind of risque pictures of herself. Ooh.
Okay. You know where my head went?
So,
they had cameras? But this is the 1800s, right?
Yeah, so I guess they have some kind of whatever. I don't know where she got the photography done because she can't exactly.
Oh my God. Paint me like one of your French girls, Jack.
Yeah. So,
paint me like one of those French girls, Pizza Rat.
So she also sent him like food because, I guess it's not that whatever.
They don't have food in Paris, I guess.
They don't, but also it's around Christmas time, so she was like making food, making like cakes and stuff, and she's like, all right, I want to send one to my husband because I love him so much. Well, Charles ate a piece of the cake and he got pretty sick from it. So he's like, I don't know about this. Maybe it got spoiled in transits, but I'm going to throw it away. So also around the time, cholera symptoms were very common because this was a huge thing at the time.
Got it.
So he was like not really alarmed because he's like, one, she sent a cake through the mail. So
and he
probably
ate the cake that she sent.
And he ate the cake that she sent through the mail. And also the time cholera was pretty big deal. So
I get that.
Now, when he stayed a little bit while longer in Paris, but soon had to return because he felt ill and was said that he had cholera.
So did he keep eating the cake?
No, he threw it away.
Oh, okay.
So it's not the cake. It's just he
it's a serious
had cholera. Yeah, or he felt like he did because he was having all the symptoms. So the symptoms, or what cholera is a serious bacterial infection, typically spread through contaminated food or water, causing severe diarrhea and dehydration. So kind of like dysentery. So it's just the fad at the time.
Some have the flu. Some have, what's the thing?
Some have the cholera.
Some have
dysentery. So when he did return home after Paris, because again, he thought, all right, when I get home, I'll feel better. The illness continued. So, oh no. So Marie was by her husband's side. She was trying to give him soup, anything. But the family doctor checked in, determined he has cholera.
Oh no.
And
he has that other
earlier,
will. Oh no.
Yeah.
Fix it, fix it, fix it.
Fix it. And 8 years earlier, Paris had a very serious cholera outbreak. So they're thinking, okay, obviously it's 8 years prior, but maybe that's where he contracted it from and he brought it home.
He found the one water fountain that nobody Lysoled.
That's still... Yes. At the time, the doctor said, okay, the best thing to do for this is to keep them hydrated and keep them improve their sanitation conditions, which meant we have to make sure he's in one of the nice rooms instead of the ones with the fucking rats. But
Leonardo and Michelangelo are getting very upset because that's their dad.
That's their dad.
Okay.
You can't speak poorly of our father. How dare you?
They know ninja shit, okay? Fuck.
He was prescribed medication, and the doctor instructed Marie on how to look after her husband. So again, you're doing all the right things. You're the wonderful, doting wife. Here's what you need to do in order to get him back to health. So,
okay.
As the estate was very old and not really well kept, we know, because Marie's one person, the estate's pretty large. She asked the doctor, hey, could you also get me some arsenic so that I can kill the rats?
Thank God.
Because
gotta kill the rats, man.
Because we got to get rid of them because...
By Splinter.
Because it's disturbing Charles' sleep. He's not, and we want to make sure he gets a good night's sleep.
You need that.
Yeah. The next few days, Charles' condition didn't really change.
Oh, no.
His health started to deteriorate really rapidly.
That's so terrible.
So the family went to another doctor who also diagnosed cholera and told Marie to give him regular doses of eggnog to strengthen him. I didn't realize that was a thing.
Eggnog? Like the shit from Christmas?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, that's what yeah. I didn't think, what does it have in it? That's like, this is good for you.
Brandy?
Does it hydrate you? I don't know. No alcohol in it. You have to, it's just regular.
How did they
eggnog.
preserve it back then?
I don't. Well, maybe it was alcohol.
I would
but
think
why would you
have to put brandy in it to preserve it, and then alcohol would kill
like
the germs, and then there's enough fat content to kind of coat your stomach, and maybe,
but doesn't that's not really hydrating?
I don't know. I'm not a
know.
doctor.
I don't know.
I'm
I don't
allergic
know.
to eggnog.
I don't know. I just thought you're right. All you're saying makes sense, but I'm like, does that really hydrate you? Have some Gatorade or something.
I mean, yeah, Powerade, Pedialyte.
Hello.
Gosh.
Now, his relatives, because of course, like it was like mom and dad were there, they started to get a little suspicious because of the whole situation. And a woman who was staying with them, I don't understand why. I don't know if she was there because she was just an extra body. She was just like a housemaid that they, whatever. Her name was Anna. Anna saw Marie one time putting white powder into the eggnog. So Anna's like, what is that? Marie's like, oh, this is orange blossom sugar. I use it all the time in his tea and my tea. It's a thing.
Okay.
Now, Anna was still suspicious, though. And it grew worse because the minute that Charles actually sipped the eggnog, she saw flakes floating at the top of the drink. And usually sugar dissolves. So that's... so she showed the drink to the doctor.
Is eggnog...
Who tasted it.
I'm so sorry. Is this eggnog the same eggnog that we think of eggnog now? Because...
I'm
how
thinking
would you
it
see
is,
shit
but like...
floating out, like... Once you do, like, it's so thick, everything just goes inside of it like quicksand.
You would think so. So, I don't know.
I don't get it.
So she showed him the drink. He tasted it, and he was like, oh, God, yeah, it's a burning sensation. But he's like, listen.
Brandy does that.
Have you seen... Yeah. He's like, have you seen this fucking place? There's fucking flakes falling from the ceiling. So, must have fallen in the drink. Like, that's, okay. Anna still was like, I don't know about this lady.
Okay.
So Marie made soup for Charles once again. She put the powder in it, and then he ate the soup, and then he got sick. So this is when Anna took the soup to the rest of the family and was like, this was what happened. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm not saying she's poisoning him.
I'm just saying she's poisoning him.
She's poisoning him. So, January 12th, 1840, the family gathered in Charles's sick room without Marie. And they were like, listen, do not take any food or drink from your wife.
Okay.
The family also grew concerned because that's when they realized that Marie had ordered arsenic. But when they confronted her, the servants are like, yeah, they made us get it because of the rats. Like, it's, that's the whole reason.
Yeah.
So, the following day, white residue was found at the bottom of a glass of sugar water Marie had given to Charles. So a doctor was brought in who suspected poison. Charles died a couple hours later. Now, this is when rumors went wild. And they're like, oh my God, Marie poisoned her husband, and blah, blah, blah. She seemed totally unfazed by these rumors. And she's like, no, I'm trying to take care of my husband. I was doing the best I could. The family brought in a justice of the peace, January 15.
Yep.
To speak to Marie and the family regarding the accusations. They collected the arsenic paste, questioned the apothecary, and then they ordered an autopsy on Charles.
Okay.
They also collected the food samples the family had held on to because they held on to the soup and all that stuff because they were like, trust it.
Ew.
Now, this is where this kind of gets a little interesting and weird.
Okay.
The Marsh test was invented in 1836 by James Marsh, who was a Scottish chemist. He created a glass apparatus that could detect small traces of arsenic and measure its quality. So despite this being a new test, the doctors only took Charles' stomach before burial, and they subjected the rest of the body to older methods, which proved to be unreliable. So they only really tested the stomach and didn't use the Marsh test.
Okay.
They were able to find a quality of arsenic in Charles's body.
But he had cholera. Or they thought he had cholera.
Yeah. They thought he had cholera.
Aren't arsenic and cholera
similar symptoms?
They're like, the symptoms are kind of the same, aren't they?
They're kind of the same. So that's why when the doctor's like, oh, it's cholera, they're like, okay. But then once she started showing up with her white powder, they're like, maybe it's not cholera. maybe she's poisoned him.
Maybe he's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline.
So Marie was arrested and held in jail.
Okay.
As her lawyer was getting prepared for the trial, they found some not so great things about Marie's past.
Okay.
Prior to meeting Charles, Marie was suspected of stealing one of her friend's diamonds. And this friend happened to be a countess.
Uh-oh.
The matter at the time was not pursued because the friend was like, there's no way Marie could have done it. But now that Marie's on trial, her friend's like, check for those diamonds. So,
okay.
The countess reminded the courts and demanded the diamonds back, to which Marie denied it and put the blame on the victim, saying something about blackmail from other people, which is why she held on to the diamonds. Blah,
she had the diamonds?
She kept saying no. She's like, listen, it's all about you. You were blackmailed. I didn't even know where they were. I had no idea where they were. So I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Well, they were found in her room, so she had a pretty good idea. So the court sentences her to 2 years imprisonment for theft.
Okay.
This is in the meantime, right before the murder trial. So this is where she became somewhat of a celebrity because she was able to gain some sympathy. Her father passed away.
Yep.
She was adopted by an aunt. She lived with her mother-in-law, who didn't really like her very much. Yep. All of these things. So people were like, some people were very much like on Team Marie. Like, oh my gosh, this poor woman.
It's like Roxy Hart.
And other people. Exactly like a Roxy Hart. While she was in prison, she received letters from wealthy men proposing marriage.
Yes! Yes, queen.
Yeah. So the trial went on for murder in September 1840. Mm-hmm. She was dressed in mournings with smelling salts, trying to convey the image of a woman unjustly accused and a grieving wife.
Yep.
Because you need the smelling salts, because God forbid you faint.
I'm going to faint every 30 seconds.
It just so happened that Marie's lawyer also was the lawyer of a renowned toxicologist, Mathieu Orfilia, who was contacted for this case.
Okay.
According to the toxicology, this person, the tests, quote, were conducted so ignorantly that they meant nothing. So they don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's that. So the prosecutors requested this Marsh test be done because you did old methods. This new one's here. Let's do that.
Yep.
The judge ruled in favor, but they only tested his stomach.
Still?
Yes. So this results failed to find any arsenic. Okay. But prosecutors said, arsenic could be found in other parts of the body. And they motioned to exhume Charles again.
How many times are they going to dig up this poor man?
I know, this poor guy. He was dug up twice. But they found no traces of any arsenic.
Huh.
But the prosecution decided to bring in this famous toxicologist to redo the testing on specifically the food and drink, and also from the samples of Charles's body that they did before. But this also excluded all of the natural arsenic found around the body that the earth
does
surrounding the coffin. Yes.
Okay.
So it was determined it wasn't the Marsh test that was wrong. It was that the tests were done incorrectly, because they did find samples of arsenic in his body.
Oh, so she was poisoning him.
So she was poisoning him. So Marie was found guilty and sentenced to life imprisonment with hard labor.
Ooh.
However, it was commuted to just the sentence of life without hard labor.
Okay, that's better.
She spent her time in prison writing her memoirs, as everybody does. And they were actually published in 1841.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think that they're still out there. I think I looked it up on Amazon to be like, is this still a thing? Apparently it's still a thing.
Cool.
You can still get her memoirs. And in June 1852, Marie contracted tuberculosis.
Oh, no.
So Napoleon III released her from prison. She only spent 12 years in prison.
Oh, my God.
And she passed away 5 months later, still claiming she had nothing to do with the poisoning.
What if it was the mom who was poisoning him?
That could always be a thing, because, like...
Did the mom know that he changed his will?
I'm assuming so, because why? Right? Because wouldn't you just make the assumption you're married, so all the stuff goes to your wife?
I would think so, but...
You would think. So, maybe, again, there were some people who were like, well, mom was a jerk and hated her anyway, so maybe she wanted to, maybe... She was poisoning him because she wanted to get his stuff and be like, fuck you, I can throw you out now. Maybe it was mom in general. Mom just was, I don't know. So that's the story of Marie and her little poison bitch.
Oh, poor Marie.
That came along.
I don't think she did it. I'm blaming the mom.
You know what? It's quite possible that it could be her mother-in-law. And a lot of people, actually, it's really funny, have said, why didn't we look into the mom on this? And I'm like, it's a really good point.
I mean, I'm just saying.
She didn't like her daughter-in-law anyway. Nope. But Marie was the one with the powder that kept taking care of him. So mom didn't give him any food or drink. So
that we know of.
I guess so. Yeah, it's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Just saying.
So yeah. No.
Wow, great story. Right. Shit, poor Marie.
It's an old one. Yeah.
Oldie but a goodie. So I also have an older one. Actually, it kind of is at the same time as yours. So I'm covering the old Charleston jail. Okay.
I love a good jail story.
Yeah, we love a good jail.
I love a good jail story.
The jail is located at 21 Magazine Street in Charleston, South Carolina. It is a structure of historical and architectural significance. Don't really know why. It has an octagon tower, and it's lined with small slits for windows, kind of like medieval castles, with the little bows and arrows through and shit. And it is considered one of, if not the most haunted site in Charleston. Now, I know we've covered a couple places in Charleston, but this is the big one.
I would assume it's always going to be a jail.
I would think so, or a hospital. A jail or a hospital.
Yeah, it's always those two.
Yeah. So it was optional. It was operational between 1802 and 1939, and it was built to house approximately 150 inmates.
Yeah.
At times, its capacity, however, was pushed up to 350.
There it is.
And we all know that the living conditions were perfect and everybody lived happily ever after the end. JK, it was terrible. Everything was dust. It just sucked there. The jail held many notable figures, among them Denmark Vesey, who was accused of planning a slave revolt and was executed in 1822. We're going to talk a little bit more about that human. John and Lavinia Fisher and the members of their gang. Lots of high sea pirates. And here's my favorite thing. It's like high seas pirates. It's like, where the fuck else were the pirates?
The low seas.
The lake pirates. That's right. I forgot about those.
Could you imagine?
Oh my god. There was a pirate on the pond over there, and we got him and we took care of it. It's done. I'm
just picturing it.
Yeah, the veggie tail guys over there. Those dudes who are at the bottom of the slop sink, them. Then there's Jacques Alexander Tardy, who was held from 1825 to 27 for an attempt to steal a pilot boat. That's a pirate guy, just so you know. A pilot boat, yeah. So the first floor of this jail was set up for the gentleman criminal. I think that's like money type stuff,
The white collar.
Yeah. The second floor was for debtors and prostitutes, and the third floor was for the murderers, rapists, and thieves. So maybe not. What would be a gentleman crime then? Like wearing white after Labor Day?
I feel like, wouldn't that be embezzling?
Wouldn't that be a thief?
Yeah, what would a white collar crime be?
No. Okay. So the old Charleston jail was used as a POW camp during the Civil War. The jail actually ran out of space for all of the Union soldiers, so some were forced to sleep outside. Just MPD.
Do you got a sleeping bag?
Yeah, just dig a hole. There's a bush. Have a great time. During the 1886 Charleston earthquake, the jail was damaged and had to go through some renovations. So the jail's tower, that octagonal tower, and the entire, or one of them, because I think there were two of them. So like one of them fell down. And then the entire top floor was fucked. So everything ended up being removed. No. The last hanging at the Charleston jail took place in 1911. And the old city jail fell in terrible condition because it was like a Sheridan beforehand. In 1939, it was officially closed after being the city's jail for 136 years. 136 years. The jail became a museum in the 70s. It was sold in the 90s to the Charleston Housing Authority. It became the American College of Building Arts in 2000. And then in 2016, it went through a series of renos. And I'm talking like $15 million in renos.
Well,
and now
it should, because if it's that crummy.
Yeah, I mean, you had to do something. But now it's a private office space and event venue. Because I can't wait to get married where, 1 million people, like, had the worst point in their life.
Were held captive, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
So at any given... there's a whole bunch of shit here. At any given time, the Charleston jail had been used as a hospital, a poorhouse, and later a home for runaway slaves. Over 10,000 people have died in this building.
That's fantastic.
Cellmates died from sickness, injuries, homicides, and executions. So let's talk about a couple of people who resided here. And we're going to start with John and Lavinia Fisher. Now, I did not go into crazy detail because these people are nuts. And if you ever wanted to cover them, girl, fucking get it. So, Lavinia is known as America's first female serial killer. She and her husband, John, ran a bed and breakfast style home just 6 miles outside of town, so it became known as the 6 Mile Inn. Very original.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
so Lavinia would lure wealthy men in with her beauty, and then she'd be like, "Oh, it's almost bedtime. Let me give you my special tea blend to help you sleep." Well, it contained oleander, which is poisonous.
Yeah.
So they'd drink this tea, they'd get a little loopy, and the husband would pop out and stab them to death. The couple would then take all of their money and hide the body. And they did this for years before they got caught. And there were a couple times where it was like really close. It was like, oh shit, we're really in for it this time. But they were so popular in town, people would be like, not the Fishers, they're just amazing people. Why would they kill anyone? They're married. They have a business. I don't think they had a kid, but that's okay.
But there they are.
There they are. So it wasn't until one dude escaped.
It's always that guy.
We had a good thing going, and then this guy, fucking Kyle over here,
ruined
everything. Well, he went to the police, and the hotel was searched. The police found a whole bunch of, missing belongings and dead bodies, and they were sentenced to hang. So they both went to the Charleston prison where, they had the gallows. And so it's the day of the hanging. This is my favorite part. I fucking love Lavinia Fisher for this. Oh, did I catch it? I got it. Okay. So, in my opinion, Lavinia Fisher is like a fucking badass. She showed up to the gallows in her wedding dress. All right?
Yes, I do remember that.
When she was
I remember
asked
this part.
if she had any last words, she addressed the crowd. If any of you have a message for the devil, tell me now, for I will be seeing him in a moment. Then she didn't even wait for them to drop the door. She took a running swan dive off the edge of the gallows. And they were like, yeah, that's suicide. They didn't even mark her down as an executed. Yeah, she committed suicide.
No, because she helped. She
did their work for them.
Execution. Assisted
They
execution.
get the assist at least. Assisted suicide. The Charleston jail people were the first Kevorkians of our time. Ouch. Okay, so now let's get to Jacques Alexander Tardy. He was known for his piracy. Pirates practically rare in Charleston in the early days. It was like, you ever watch Pirates of the Caribbean, they go to Tortuga? That was Charleston back in the day.
That's Charleston.
So Tardy was known for stealing property and money, and he had quite a track record with the authorities, But you have heard of me.
Yes.
So he served some time for his crimes, but never enough that really made him change his ways. But Tardy is known to have poisoned 8 people with arsenic on board a ship on their way to Charleston. So he told the authorities that the chef was to blame. So the chef was executed. Then he got another ship, went out to sea, was coming back. What happened to the crew? Oh no, they were poisoned. Can you guess with what? Arsenic. I knew. Yeah, there you go. So again, he blamed the chef, but this time the chef was found innocent because they're like, we've heard this story before. We know this one. So
we know this.
Tardy ended up spending a few more years in Old City Jail for that crime. I don't know why he didn't get the gallows, but whatever. So then you have Denmark Vassie. He's another famous inmate. He helped form a rebellion of former slaves on Bastille Day. And his big plans for these freed slaves was to march to the home of their former masters and execute all of them.
What a great idea.
The sentiment is there. The execution
it's not a bad thought.
Didn't really work because the rebellion did not go as planned. And in 1822, he was imprisoned in the Old City Jail. Vassie spent many days in the prison until it was time for him to be hung. Charleston, after this, they put all these extra rules and laws on the slaves because of this exact plot. So now, for example, any black seamen who had been kept in had to be kept in confinement until they were set to sail on another trip. So they could come in from port, but we got to keep them over at the jail until they're ready to go.
Which floor would they go on then?
Maybe they're the gentlemen. No,
maybe they're the gentlemen. I
probably kept them outside.
So weird.
Assholes.
Yeah. Hey, just stay there with your little pillow.
Yeah, there's your bush. Goodbye.
There it is.
Okay, so we're done with the background. Let's chat about the ghosties. Yay! Okay. So there's an apparition of a soldier or jailer, and he's often seen roaming the cells on the 3rd floor. There's an old wheelchair that has remained at the jail since the 1820s, and it's assumed that it belonged to a person who died and died in the wheelchair, probably due to cholera. Oh my gosh, look at all this.
Why would you keep it?
I don't know.
It hasn't been renovated?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. But anyway, the chair is often seen moving by itself. It is even bumped into visitors, and no one's allowed to sit in it.
I wouldn't want to sit in it.
It's from the 1820s. It's 200 years old. Why the fuck would I sit in it?
Right.
Just seems like splinters.
I agree.
In the basement is the old morgue. Visitors often see a small young boy roaming the room. And as many children do, he likes to play. and often puts pebbles into people's pockets. He will also throw pebbles at visitors if he feels rambunctious, as many children are. And many feel cold spots around the waist or the height of a small child.
Poor baby.
Okay. One woman who went ghost hunting in the building, and this was a while ago because now it's like that event planner place. So
yeah,
she was there with a dozen or so others, and so the woman took hundreds of photos. She's walking around with her camera. She's taking all these pictures, and she didn't see much at the beginning of the tour. She said it was all right, but she was getting bored with the history lesson. I mean, I don't know what her problem is. That's like my favorite part.
Right.
But then she saw a man walking from one side of the hall to the other. And when she asked about him, the tour guide told her that it was Mr. Fisher. As the tour walked further into the jail, the woman felt a tug on her hair. She jumped and asked if anyone had seen anything, but no one had. Minutes later, the woman said she felt someone's hands around her neck. She wasn't able to breathe, and the tour guide thought she was having cardiac arrest. After about 5 minutes, the woman went back to normal, and when the group asked her if she was all right, she told them someone was choking her. Girl, I'm out. I don't want to play that game.
Yeah, no.
I was like all about going here because like the whole Lavinia Fisher thing, and now I'm like, no.
Yeah.
We're like,
no, I'm good.
No. Yeah, no. So our favorite people have been there. Yes, you're right. Zach Bagans. Yes. Your little face. She's like, I got it right. Yes, you did, baby girl. You got it
She's
right.
just like,
Yep.
You're like, what?
Yes, you got it. So I remember this episode. It was a school at the time that they went. And so it was like the early 2000s. And one of the professors who was there, he's like, yeah, no, there's definitely ghosts here. So Ghost Adventures is here, and this is when it's the college. So there are like kids around, and they're like doing all their artwork and stuff, and it's like architecture type stuff and all that good stuff. So there's this one professor who is giving them the tour and tells Zach, there's this one time I was in the stairwell. And there's this stairwell where, like, behind you is all glass, to, like, look out. And then in front, like, they still have the bars and stuff. Like, it was still a prison. It was super weird. They, like, didn't reno it for the college. But there's that. And then at the top of the stairs, there was more, like, glass or plexiglass and then the bars. So he's like, I'm standing here on one of the bases, and he looks up. And he sees somebody standing up top. And he's looking at it because it looks weird. He goes, Zach, I realized it wasn't somebody in front of me upstairs. It was somebody behind me on the stairs. And he turned around and nobody was there. I was like, nope. I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Emma doesn't like that either. No, we don't like that. We don't like that at all. So that was one part. Let's go through what they found. Okay, so my favorite part of the Ghost Adventures episode is there's like this cage. Think of like, or not a cage, it's a cell. It's a really big cell. And Nick is in it. And they have the EVP thing going. But like the one that goes, so a spirit box.
Yeah, the white.
So Zach is like, Lavinia. All right. Who did you tell people that you were going to see? And like within seconds, it goes, the devil. Everybody freaked out. I freaked out. They freaked out. Everybody freaked out. It was amazing. I still freak out at that part. It gives me like fucking goose pimples. But okay. So the EVPs they got were You Make Me Mad. There was some unexplained yelling, like a prisoner yelling. They got Let Me Out. I want to go and get off him. Then the spirit box voice was the devil. Zach literally feels that a spirit is saying yes to some question. Don't know how that's a fucking thing. Aaron says that he sees an orb coming up the stairs turning into a white mist. And when they later checked the game camera, they realized it hadn't been triggered when Aaron saw whatever it was, but it was triggered when Aaron like walked in front of it. So don't really know how that like really meant anything, but that was like a big deal. There was unexplained knocking, loud crashing sounds, banging heard more than twice, and footsteps. Nick gets an eerie feeling when he's in that jail cell, and he starts to think that something's circling him. Dakota. So, okay, this is the episode where they had the like sweepstakes where, like, you know, if you made a video about ghost adventures and you won, you could go on a thing. So Dakota and his dad went, and this is like Dakota from Destination Fear. This is where he got his start. So he went on this episode with them, and then he started working with Zach at one point, and then he got his own spinoff, and then Zach said, fuck everybody else who has a ghost hunting show, Discovery Plus, only me, and that's where we are now.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
But
that's a Zach thing.
Dakota says that he sees an orb. Aaron says he gets a weird feeling, and Nick and Zach's camera batteries drain at the same time. When there's loud bangs, Dakota's dad, while he's in... Okay, so they put... Poor Dakota's dad. They put him in a jail cell in the pitch black with an EVP thing. And they're like, chill here and just talk. So...
Sure.
So while he's in there, he hears bangs. And then on the EVP thing, they get let me out as a light anomaly is like floating by on the camera.
Huh.
And then finally there's equipment malfunction, and Aaron says that he begins to feel like he's going to throw up, and all the camera batteries drain.
Oh.
And yeah, so that is the Old Charleston jail.
Wow. Sounds like a great place to have a wedding or some other event.
I cannot wait to not have an event there. I'm so glad I got married in Vegas. Which has its own ghosties that I've gone and tried to talk to. But yeah, so that's that.
Wow.
Okay. So what I want to talk about super quick is, I know I just covered Annabelle. Anybody who doesn't want to hear about Annabelle, I think you're good now. You can shut the episode. Well, just fast forward to the end of the episode so we can complete the download. But, just to be sure. But Annabelle's on like a world tour. Have we talked about this?
Oh my God. No, but I think I know what you're going to say because I saw a news thing.
Okay. So Annabelle's in New Orleans right now. And 2 days after she got there, some like really horrible, terrible plantation burned down. And I saw a video of somebody being like, in the picture of the flames, they see like, they're saying like it looks like people in the flames. And they're saying like their souls are finally being like purified from the place. But then after everything burned down, they said they caught an apparition of somebody walking through the downstairs.
Oh.
So that was one. But then like a day or so after that, 11 people escaped from a prison down there. And like there were murderers and rapists involved. And I'm like, dude, girl. I mean, I was all on board, Annabelle, with the, burning down of the plantation, which I'm sure that's terrible. I'm glad nobody got hurt, like all that good stuff. But like, I get it. But like, why are we going to let that bad juju back out once you just like saved all these souls? Like, come on. Like, it's like a Sour Patch Kid in reverse.
Did somebody else open the door? Like, did she just kind of just do what the hell she wants? That's just...
I don't know, but they weren't supposed to move her. Like... Lorraine Warren literally said, never move Annabelle. Like, leave her here. Tony Serpa, man. I'm blaming you. But she's going to Gettysburg next. So let's see what happens in Gettysburg.
Oh, freaking no.
Yeah, Ken says she was at some prison. I think I missed that part. I just saw her in New Orleans. And he's like, I told you.
I saw the New Orleans stuff. But I was like, oh no.
Oh, yeah.
Especially because... you're right, just don't move
just
her.
Leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
Yeah.
Don't touch things. We always say this.
What's that one? Put it back. Hands in your pockets.
Hands in your pockets.
No.
Like, leave it alone. Don't bring rocks home with you.
Oh, I brought rocks home. Yeah, I brought rocks home. But we won't talk about it. It's fine. Well, thank you. Oh, what did we learn? I learned Annabelle is scary. I learned...
Don't touch anything.
Don't touch anything. Don't poison anybody because there are toxicology reports and you will get caught.
Yeah. And now there's more like advanced stuff.
Yeah, like you're definitely getting caught now. So like it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's not worth it. Like just divorce them.
Yeah.
Or if it's a mother-in-law in this case, like Marie's case, just punch her in the face. Like what's she going to do? Realistically.
You should have poisoned the parents and then the son.
I mean, she didn't probably think
Yeah,
it through.
no, you did not. Like, yeah, you did not think that one through, honey. That's okay. I mean,
it's all right. At least she tried.
I mean,
and she tried.
Give it your best college try, right? That's what I always say.
I mean, there it was.
So yes, thank you so much for hanging out with us this Tuesday. If you're all caught up and want to hear more, you're always welcome to join our Patreon. Make sure you're following us on all the socials. Rate, review, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, hit the little bell so you know when new episodes come out. Somehow poor Jen has to figure out how to crop out Emma. Good luck. Maybe just put our logo on her face.
Yeah,
there you go. And every time she moves, it'll just move around the screen.
It'll just move.
Yeah, that's going to be fine. There's that. If you want our merch, go to our website, deathbeforebooze.com. Click on merch. You'll find it all there. You can also go to our website to find all of our sources and pictures from today's episode. Other than that, I love you guys so much. Thank you for hanging out. And we'll see you next week.
All right, guys.
Bye-bye.
Love you. Stay spooky.